All right, so welcome to this week's Unikernel application spotlight. This week we're looking at Zune. I assume that's how you pronounce it. So this is a new runtime for the Luau language. So this isn't Lua. This is, and I think this is pronounced Luau, but I don't know how to read this stuff. But I think it's pronounced like the Hawaiian Luau. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, it's a runtime for this language, which is a diversion of Lua that Roblox, I guess some people from Roblox started a while back ago. And so I ran into this just recently. This is their GitHub repo. It looks like perhaps a few people are working on it. It's pretty brand new. You know, just yeah, it's pretty brand new, so just a few stars right now. But it is interesting because there's a lot you can already do with it. So your Hello World print the platform, of course. What I was most particularly interested in, and I'll show you that this actually needs to be updated here in a little bit. Some testing and so forth. But yeah, just think of this as like a new runtime for running this language. If you want to play around with it, we got ourselves a package here, and I threw in some examples because the samples I found seemed slightly out of date. If you're gonna build Zune from source, let me pull that up. So one thing I kind of ran into was you definitely need to have the matching zig. My zig was a little bit in the future of this zig version, and so just ensure that that matches so you can actually build the repo fine. Yeah, coming back to Luau, it was interesting because I kind of seen this, and I've already made an example for it in our apps examples repo. And I was kind of curious what the difference was, and I didn't like really look at it too much, but it essentially, and they use this entire page to explain, but basically it's like, yeah, we've been using it for like 20 years, but we just started making new additions. One of the interesting things I found, which kind of gels with unikernels, was apparently in Roblox they have lots of problems with like people just attacking the crap out of it. And so they actually implement a sandbox. Now, I haven't looked at the sandbox, so I don't really know, what it really states to do or the guarantees that it wants and all that. But the fact that they even mention it says a lot that, they did go into it with an intention, which I like to see when people start throwing around terms like sandbox. Rather than just calling things sandbox. But it's not just that, they go all the way in about performance, and so you can kind of see that there's been a lot of attention detailed here too. There was another Lua variant called Lua Jit, which was stupid fast. I don't know what the current status of Lua Jit is right off the top of my head, but they do mention this as well. And so this is an interesting little language. And now I did not even see that. I guess it's actually being sponsored by Roblox. Anyways, coming back to Zune. Zune caught my eye because obviously these examples look really easy, right? Like 10 lines of code, and you have a little web server with these performance and security benefits. But what I really like to see when I pop this open was they do have kind of a fleshed out API. Maybe not everything is there, but there is quite a lot there, and there's enough to run a web server, for instance. So if we pull up net, and this is actually something I ran into, by the way. So this is what made me happy was I did run into the issue. I tried to run their example right here, but as we can see, that example doesn't run because it got namespaced a while ago. Now this is common because it's a new project. But anyways, enough of me like blabbering on. Let's just look at the code. Let's look at the stuff. So this is the package that I wrote up. Pretty straightforward. And then this is the code. Like I said, you just need to namespace that out, the HTTP. And then, listen on the interface, 8080. We're all of 11 lines of code. So we go ahead and run it. Set our port here. All right, so it's up and running. Let's just ping it real quick. And we're good to go. So it's pretty straightforward. Our config real quick. We just pass it run hi Luau, and our file, right? The actual package is pretty straightforward. We can take a look at that. iberg Luau. All right. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Nothing special. The binary, and I haven't mentioned another thing about this project yet, but you can probably guess what I'm going to talk about. Look at this binary. 1.9 meg. There's like nothing in this. It's so small. Why is it small? Well, one big reason is this is written in Zig. And so Zig has a lot of interesting properties. It's billed as kind of another newer systems language that could kind of sit there with like Rust and so forth with completely different guarantees, by the way. Focus on performance, low memory usage. You got people like Tiger Beetle using it. Apparently Synadia from Nats is going to be using it. They actually just made like a 512K donation to the Zig Foundation. You got the Mitchell from HashiCorp has been a big adopter. So I'm starting to see more and more Zig and being used for things like this, and I think it's an excellent choice. The fact that one language is powering another language, I think, is a completely irrelevant factor, but but I do kind of like it. So yeah, this is pretty cool. And once again, like, don't discount the fact that somebody's already got great docs going on, because I actually had to use them to get started. But this was the this week's Unikernel application spotlight. Zune. It's a high performance Luau runtime written in Zig. All right, till next week.